Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my Oval Office. It's Thirsty Thursday. That's my excuse anyway. Welcome to one of a smaller handful of what we're going to call Inside the Barn Talks this colder season. I was doing it in the milk house the last couple of years. I think I put on a few of them. This is more fitting as far as I'm concerned. You're going to have to put up with a small little amount of bawling. The four calves in the back pen are still on a 4-day wean-off, maybe, I think. I'm losing track of my days. Real quick here. If that gets any worse, we're going to move. Real quick, if you're looking for a well-scripted, well-organized, prolifically speaking, educational sit-down talk, you're on the wrong channel. Those channels are out there. I'm a fan of them. Don't get me wrong. That's not the case here. I scripted enough time to actually put this table here in this chair and set the phone up on, you don't even want to know what. There's a duct tape roll and it doesn't matter. So I guess what I'm trying to say, if anybody has anything to say, which I have to say these days because there's some very critical people out there, with any of the information I'm about to give, or the way this is done, my grave apologies to you. And we'll stop there. Real quick here, we got a big morning tomorrow morning. Everything's been dialed in, set, ready to go. I've had a significant problem here on this farm with water pressure. It's been a problem for some little amount of time. It's getting worse and worse and worse. Real bad. That problem is being solved tomorrow. I touched on this on an earlier video. There is a union, if not two of them, connector within the well to the submersible pump that is at least half broken, which is a huge problem. While we are going after that, and I've got a company coming here, while we're going after that, we are changing out the 26 to 27-year-old submersible pump down in the well. Tomorrow is a big day, huge day. I'm glad this is happening now versus January, February. Oh, geez. All the ducks are in a row. We are starting promptly by 8:45 a.m. I've got some extra help here to pull up that pipe and get that pump out of there. They figure, they're giving me perfect world, that it should take less than 3 hours. Perfect world. In the event something happens, which of course that's the world we live in, me anyway, I do have the volunteer fire department on standby because by 11:30 a.m., somewhere's around there, all stock tanks outside will be drained dry. So if there's a problem, I'm going to have the fire department here on a non-emergency call. I've already spoke with them to come and fill up the stock tanks while we keep working on the pump. Big day tomorrow, looking very forward to it. It's going to be a great day tomorrow. Not looking forward to the invoice. Such is life. Okay. Last evening, I put on a video and I touched on something that is, there's a grave problem on this farm. I want you to understand that I'm going to sit down and talk to you about it. And you need to understand that here I am telling you about my problems and where I have failed. I don't know about you, but that is not very easy to some people. It's not to me. If you're half-assed normal, it's not to you either. So bear with me here. I'm going to give you the best explanations that I can. What is my problem? I touched on it last night, Thirsty Thursday, today. Smaller calves. My wean-off weight is getting ridiculous. Now, we had an all-day rain day today. I got to take care of a lot of stuff today. One of the things I allowed myself to do was look back on weight tickets the last couple of years. I got a problem here. And then, of course, I also touched on how I'm good friends with a couple of local cattlemen, and we share what normally would be private information. We share that privately with each other. Comes down to it, in even some circumstances, comparing to others, which we don't have a choice sometimes, it's healthy to do. In one case, my average wean-off weight, of the steers that I just shipped, according to this gentleman's average of steers and heifers, that number was damn near 100 pounds shy. For some of you that don't know, and it's okay that you don't, we're talking catastrophic numbers here. That was a little dramatic. We're talking, those are huge, huge numbers when you're talking about that age of calves. And I also got to take a look at some other weaned off calves that were shipped to the shipper yesterday by others. And it's not up for discussion. I have a problem. I'm about to share with you what I believe my problem is. And it's not a belief, it's a stamp of guarantee. There's one thing that we won't speak of here at all, and that is my mineral program. I ain't talking about it. My mineral program here is second to none. Period. We're dropping that. It's not mineral. Now, feed. 95% of me says that we're not going to talk about how there's a feed grocery problem here. They never miss a meal. You know, last night when I put that video on, I'm glad I did that and I touched on it, because I sat at my table till midnight last night. Did some research, looked at all my past figures and numbers, the ones that I keep records of anyway, especially wean-off weight and fall feeder sales. So I dissected the absolute living Hades out of it. One area where I messed up this very early, well, it's still spring, is I started my grazing on time here, third week of May. That is, you can put it on the calendar. Third week of May starts grazing, the paddock systems, everything else. Well, I'm going to tell you something. I could have started that son of a gun probably the first week of May, and I should have. Last year, I took on a fall P&K program. The first time I've ever done that here, or it's ever been done here, fall P&K to my grazing property to give it that uplift. And I'm here to tell you, it gave it that uplift. You can go back on videos. I don't have to. I remember seeing what I seen. I ended up waiting till the magical date of the third week of May. After 2 or 3 paddocks, which were fair, it was just absolutely unbelievable. A great sight to see, but we're talking mature type grass. And of course, what we're talking about here, folks, is the cattle, the cows and heifers about to calve, or have already calved. Yeah, by third week of May, yeah. That good feed, for lack of better words, being transferred to those little calves by way of mother's milk. That's one area where I really screwed up in this past spring. It will not be done again. What will be done again is fall P&K. I'm going to let this weather go by that we're having, hunting season. I'm going to hit it right before our first storm, hopefully some frozen ground. And I'm going to hit all the pasture land, grazing property with P&K. But I'm going to tell you what's going to change is that magical date that's on the calendar of third week of May. Bullshit. If it's acceptable by first week, knock that off. By first week of May, they're getting let out. Famous words, I forget what they are, but it's basically adapting and changing. I, like almost anybody else, has a hard problem with that. That's one thing that needs to be changed. Don't wait till the third week of May, because the thing of it is that there's, in an absolute perfect world, there's 31 feedings. I've gone on enough about this. We got a lot to cover. I'm going to stop there. Grazing's going to start earlier if it merits it. Last year was a perfect weather program. Let's see what happens. That's an area where I screwed up. They had overgrown, mature, almost brownish grass they were knocking over just to get down to the little morsels down to the ground. So I guess we do have a little bit of a feed problem here this year. This year was significant on wean-off weights. We'll stop there. My two biggest answers. We're going to go after the lesser of both evils, but just as important. So let's just go number 2. Somebody hit this nail directly on the head too with a comment. My fly control program here barely exists. And I spent a lot of time last night at the table looking at information and answers according to fly control with a cow-calf operation. And it really opened up my eyes. What I do here isn't much. I put out, my mineral program is fantastic. I do put out the fly control wind and rain mineral. Some of you are smirking. I'm smirking with you. I do believe that, of course, there is some help that comes with that, but it's not true real fly control, okay? What I do also is in the absolute worst times, when it comes time to open up the magical gate to let them through the paddock system, I will stand there with one of those big white 2.5 gallon solo sprayers, good old boy style. I'll set that nozzle to where it kind of comes out pretty thick and steady. And while they're going through and filtering through, I'll do this. That ain't cutting it. It ain't cutting it. I believe that fly control, or the lack thereof, which of course we're talking stress to not only the cows, but of course calves as well. I believe that's one of my, a greater contributor to what's happening here. And a big pat on the back to the gentleman that made that comment. I should have done this better. I should have taken your name and given you a nice pat on the back. They're getting pissed off. They're pissing me off. My apologies, but you and I need to sit down and have a beer. Good stuff. Okay, so fly control. So what am I doing? In no more than a week or two, I promise you this, it's on my list now. I will be purchasing, I believe you call it the fly rope, and it's going to be the fly rope with the strands that come down as well. I'm going to put up 2 big treated poles on the grand entrance to the paddock system. That fly rope with the strands is going to be set down low enough, and this is going to piss the cows off. I know it is. They're not used to this, but boo-hoo. And that is going to be part of my fly control. Acquiring a rubbing post as well, of course, with to help with fly control. I need to look into that. I don't really know what's out there. I need to look into it, and if I can find something that I think will work here, it will be acquired. Before we get to the biggie, there was some comments, that was a weird, about creep feeding. You are correct. Maybe this farm does merit a creep feeder. It ain't going to hurt. It'll just do anything but help. It will help, excuse me. And maybe that is coming. I can tell you though, we're not going to speak about that according to my wean-off weight problem, which is a problem. It's hard for me to go ahead and tell you about this, but I've been open since day one. I've said 100 times, as long as what I put on, whether it's bad, good, or indifferent here, lessons learned or, good or bad, as long as this helps maybe one person, hopefully two, I'm fine with it. And I hope it does. Fly control. That's a biggie. Now let's go to our biggest. Calving ease on top of calving ease on top of calving ease on top of calving ease. I'm guilty. By the way, I'm ashamed of myself. I don't think I said Happy Veterans Day. Big Happy Veterans Day to everybody out there that is a veteran that served this country. Thank you. Thank you. I almost want to start this over. That should have been said first. Calving ease on top of calving ease, calving ease, calving ease. I'm guilty of it. Now I'm going to play Mr. Know-It-All and tell you that I did see a problem last year about this time when it came off to wean off weights. It wasn't significant as it is this year, but I seen a problem. I did do one fix that I don't know if I spoke about, and that is one of my AI sires had nothing to do with calving ease. So this year's AI sires, I knew this, and now mom's bawling outside. I knew this was a mistake. We'll rush this up a little bit. Last year I noticed a problem. The only fix that I did when it came to my AI sires, folks, this is breeding charts. This is straws used, straws left over, what I have in the tank. Last year I opted with Marksman as my Red Angus bull sire, AI. Ashland, Turning Point. Marksman was the Red Angus. Ashland and Turning Point were the pure Black Angus. I did make a small change on my Hereford pick, and that was Trust. Trust is not a calving ease AI sire. And from the records that I'm seeing here, he was used greatly this past July, and that makes me a little bit happier. So, what do we need to do here? This is my biggest problem, period. Period. Well, you give me a heifer, or in even some cases a smaller frame first-year cow, they're getting a calving ease bull. Period. That can't be argued with. I'm stating the obvious here. But I'm going to tell you something right now. This comes out of laziness, I think. What I didn't want to do is manage and juggle over 4 sires. Just didn't want to do it. Because I practice a 2 years and you're out here. Whether it's an actual herd breeding bull or the AI sires. Out of laziness, I chose not to deal with more than 4 sires. So I put all this stock in, of course, into calving ease, especially with all the heifers I keep back now. And of course, I'm going to have a lot of about, right now I got a count to 29. That might change by 1 or 2. I'm not done with the heifer judging yet. I will put a lot of stock next year as well into calving ease, but it's going to be solely for the heifers and some smaller framed first-year cows. For anybody that doesn't know, and I'm going to murder this explanation, calving ease is, of course, that calf's going to come out smaller. Okay? The bull is well known to produce a smaller calf. Now, I don't think we need to speak about the anatomy or lack thereof of a heifer and some smaller frame first-year cows. Calving will continue to be used here. I'm stating the obvious again. But one of the changes that I made, of course, I already went through it. My Hereford sire Trust. I'm sticking with all these names again. Trust, Turning Point, Ashland, ouch, and Marksman for next year. Next year will be the second year. What I'm going to be doing is adding on another sire, another bull, and it's going to be a non-calving ease pure black Angus. I need to add to Trust because I only have 7 straws left of Trust. I used the hell out of him last year. Thank God. I need to add a black Angus non-calving ease AI bull. And of course, I've stated it already 3 times, he'll be used for, your multiple year cows. So that's my biggest problem. I do believe year after year after year, because I am guilty of it. I've been putting a lot of stock into this game here of AIing, for, this is probably year number 5. And I'm guilty of it. I'll admit it. I don't got nothing to hide. I don't got a complex. And I hope anybody watching this video, if you're doing the same thing, you better make a change or you're going to end up in the same damn position that I'm in. And that's a small herd. That's small calves. We're in this game for weight. Okay? So that's my answer. Calving ease is my number 1 default. A almost non-existent fly control problem, which of course we're talking stress, is my other biggie. I'm not going to hang my head on my feed program here, but starting the grazing earlier is a big plus, and that will be changed. In fact, it's already on the calendar. The first week of May. Hey dummy, are they ready for the pastures? Is the pasture ready for them? We'll see what happens. So that's my ill-educated, unrehearsed explanation of what my problem is here. It is a grave problem. Without sitting down and doing the prolific numbers, I can tell you that it's probably costing me thousands of dollars. Thousands of dollars. I know it is. I don't even need to do the numbers. Thousands. And that can't happen. This is one of the most expensive small businesses. It can't happen. So, buck up, man up, admit your faults, your problems, make a change. That's what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing, sharing it with you. That's my problem. If anybody's got something to chime in with, I'm all ears. All ears. I love this whole YouTube thing, especially on a video like this. We're talking about problems. Problems are something that works, something that doesn't work. Chime in. Hell, we'll half-ass call this a forum, or whatever you cool kids are calling it these days. So that's really all I got in a nutshell, folks. I know I went through it probably kind of quick, but I gave you all the big points. What I'm very happy about now, and I'm going to be happy to hide my anger of where my defaults are, because by God, I should be smart enough to realize and understand this. Apparently I'm not. I like to learn things the hard way. I don't like to, it just turns out that way all the time. I'm now very excited to pick out a Black Angus bull, a non-calving ease Black Angus bull for next year. And I need to start doing my tally here on straws that I need. Because if I'm not mistaken, we went through 61 of them last year. 61 straws out of the herd. Bulls took care of the rest. We'll go from there. So yeah, I'm in the hunt for a new Black Angus. And go from there. That's all I got. Nothing else to report. It's kind of a 25-minute video here that's inexcusable. Like I said, I got a lot of little things out of the way today with this rain day. It was actually kind of nice. The yards are a disaster. There's some people saying that this is the longest, worst fall drought we've ever been in. I got to be honest with you, I agree. We haven't seen moisture for so long that the top layer of the entire, all yards, almost turned into like a sugar sand type ordeal. I'm sure lots of you know what I'm talking about. Well, this rain that we got last night and basically all day today has just turned it into an absolute slip and slide out there. It's awful. We needed the rain. We needed moisture so bad. We got it. Cows got to put up with it for a little bit. They got some greasy yards out there. And settle down now. Settle down. And yeah, other than that, the big well program tomorrow. Looking forward to it, not the invoice. Thank God my my dancing gigs are kicking back up here in a couple weeks. Hunting season is right around the corner. Sunday's a big, big day for us. Of course, camp will open up by Friday. Tomorrow. Holy shit. I actually was able to sneak into town today because I could afford it, rain day, and got a lot of my supplies. I'm responsible for a couple of the big dinners, Sunday being one of them. Uncle Ben's world famous hamburgers, which I have dialed down to a T. And they are good. I'm putting on a big hamburger, Vieser Cattle Company hamburger dinner with, I ended up getting a deep fryer. I'm going to do a whole bunch of natural, fresh, homemade French fries. And I even picked up some mozzarella sticks to throw in there to make the kids happy. Picked up some other supplies as well, and kind of looking forward to it. So I got town out of the way today. That's a good feeling. I don't know about you, but as I get older, I can't give two shits about town. Sorry about my language. I don't need to talk like that. It's Thirsty Thursday. That was my first beer. I think I'm going to have one more. That's it. I got more paperwork to do tonight, and I hope this was hope this helps somebody. That was my goal, for opening myself up and making myself look and act like a fool. Once again, I don't have anything to hide. If you're smart, you won't either. Make changes if you need to. I do. I got to get my ass in gear here, folks. My butt in gear. There again. And somehow or another, we'll talk to you tomorrow. And have a good evening.